Let's pretend you're up here right now, you're presenting in front of a large audience or just the team in the boardroom. Would you be full of fear as if someone has a force choke around your neck like Darth Vader would, not knowing what's going to happen next? Well, you're not alone. The London Times did a survey and discovered that people have a higher sense of fear of public speaking and presenting than they do of actual death. My friend Captain Phasma here, she has a fear of presenting as well. And tomorrow, she's presenting to the senior leadership team of the dark side, which includes Darth Vader. So yeah, we're talking fear. How can I help her and you be better prepared for your presentations and to feel more confident? Well, by focusing on these three things: clean visuals, plain language, and storytelling. If you focus on these three things, you will be more confident and prepared for any presentation you are going to give. Let's dig into the first one, clean visuals. As you can see by this slide and others that I use in this presentation, we don't have distracting backgrounds. We have a nice clean font, easy to read, good colors, so that the audience can absorb the information in an easy and immediate way. Now, Captain Phasma, she sent me one of the slides that she started working on. We don't have clean visuals going on here. Actually, I'm betting that it won't take you long to tell me what's wrong with this slide. As people like to say, everything. Color, background, font, bullet points, it's not working. So, I know she's goth, she's kind of dark, she flies around in the universe in a spaceship, but this background, too busy, too distracting, too much going on. Opt for a background like the one on the right. Not a pure white, it's easier on the eyes, maybe a light gray like this and very clean so that your audience is not being distracted by the background. If you want to highlight something, don't go the yellow highlight route. You're going to be burning into people's eyes if you do this. Opt for what we see here on the bottom. Clean, easy to read, as I said, clean visuals. Now, we worked on this slide together, Captain Phasma and I, and it's better in terms of its clean visual approach. It's got a balanced composition, we can read it very easily, and we're digging into some plain language here as well, which leads me to the second point. When you're presenting and getting ready to speak in front of people, think about plain language. You want people to understand what you're going to say to them immediately, not have to do mental gymnastics to try to figure out what's the point and why do I care about what you're saying. Plain language helps you get your message across in the best and easiest way possible. So Captain Phasma took my advice on the clean visuals. She created this slide, but I'm so curious about some of this language. Core competency, deep dive, drilling down. If you're going to give a whole presentation full of business jargon, why don't you just have Chewbacca present for you? The message will land just as clearly. So I think, like Yoda would say, be clear you must. We're not going to say I don't have the bandwidth when we can say I don't have time. And why are we always trying to laser focus like we're in a Star Wars movie when we can just focus? Let's make language plain again. And how do we do this? We make language plain again by reducing the amount of adverbs, by using action verbs, and avoiding passive verbs in our presentation. You want your audience to understand what you're trying to convey to them. So we took Captain Phasma's slide, we added the plain language advice to it, and we took away some of the business jargon. A little easier to read. Instead of core competency, we can just say excel. Instead of deep dive, we explore. And instead of drilling down, how about we just examine the problem or the situation? Plain language helps you get the message across. But there's a third thing as well that you need to include in your presentations if you want the audience to connect with what you're saying, and that's storytelling. Storytelling actually does something to our brain. It has a chemical reaction to hearing story, and in that way we connect to the message better, and we're more likely to act on what we hear as well with a story. So let's think about storyboarding. This is what Pixar does before they do a movie. They lay it out first in the form of a storyboard, which is what I did for this presentation as well. We're actually right here, right now, on this slide. I planned out my topics, how many slides would go with each topic, and it helps me be better organized and more confident once I'm in front of the audience. Storytelling helps you make a deeper connection with your audience. It helps them take the learning and see how they can apply it to real life and take action on what you've shared, and it heightens the emotional experience for them to make your presentation and message more memorable. So think about the movies that you've never forgotten. There's usually a hero's journey going on in these stories. There's a hero who has to go on a quest or a challenge, and then a guide comes along to help this hero succeed in this quest or challenge. So let's think about Star Wars, for example. Who's the hero of Star Wars? Well, obviously, it's Luke Skywalker. What is the quest or the challenge that Luke has to do in this story? He has to defeat the Death Star. And then there's this little green dude that comes along to be his guide to help him succeed in this challenge. And because I'm up here presenting while I'm presenting, I also inserted story into my presentation. Who is my hero? Captain Phasma. What is her quest or challenge? It is the presentation in front of the senior leadership of the dark side tomorrow, and I come in as her guide to help her in prepping for this presentation and feeling more confident about it. Because storytelling will help people go on a journey with you as you do your presentation, as I have done with this Star Wars theme. I have inserted characters that you can connect with and are more meaningful to you. I've inserted some humor and some emotion to make my message more memorable as well. So, as I've mentioned at the beginning of this presentation, there are 3 things you need to remember to be confident and prepared whenever you present: clean visuals, plain language, and storytelling. If you remember these 3 things when you're doing a presentation, hey, you will be ready to present in front of anyone, and the force will be on your side, and successful you will be.